So we're going to go over the process of how to set up the CNC lathe for the HAAS machine. I'm going to first turn on the power to the machine. Let it run through its startup. Okay. So it says there is a problem with the CPU board. Let's try to reset to clear the alarm. Reset. And reset will clear the alarms. I have found that sometimes opening the door and closing it helped with the cycle door.
That's what it's looking for.
Yeah. It wants to know it works. It's there. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, I need to zero out all the accesses before we can actually start doing anything with the machine. To zero out the accesses, I'm going to start with zero return. And it doesn't matter on this specific machine which ones I do first. The only one we have to recognize is that the A axis is the one that controls for the tool change, and we need to make sure our tool changer is clear of anything so we don't hit the tools against either it be the door or anything like that. So I already hit zero return, X, single. It will only do one axis at a time. I can't do them all at the same time. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do the Z next to make sure. So it's still zero return. You hit the axis you want to select, and then you hit single. When it's off, you can actually manually move these back when the machine is off. Once the machine is on, until we've gone through the process of setting these back to zero, we can't move it.
Right.
Okay, now that it is moved and my tool changer is free of anything, I can now do zero return, the A axis, single. Okay, so now that I have it zeroed out, if I wanted to, I could jog it, move it around. But let's first go and load our program up, so that way we have the program installed into the machine, and then we can go through the process of setting up the tools and actually putting our offsets for the tools. Okay, so on the side here, you'll notice there are key options, and then you have this cover here. Now these keys, what it does, this will lock whether we can actually load a program or not into this machine. And right now we do have it unlocked. The other, this locks its running process. So if we have it locked, we can't mess with it while it's running. You would have to use this button here to actually have it held down to make it run, because as soon as you let go, it would stop. Okay. Here is where our USB is located. And now that our USB is in, we can actually go and download the program onto the machine. You want to go to List Programs. Now it says here's the memory, and we want to go over to the USB. If it was selected in memory, if it was here, where it's already selected into memory, to get out, you hit cancel, and it goes back to the tabs. And now we can actually go over to our USB, enter, and you see here is our program for our chess piece. It's you want an N CNC program. This is going to be our code, whereas the EMCX is the actual drawing that was done with the Mastercam. I hit enter. I want to F2 to copy this program, and I want it to go to memory. Enter. Now it says that I would be overwriting a program. If I don't want it to overwrite that specific program, I would have to cancel.
N for no,
N for no.
and that kicks you back.
I go back, and I can actually go back to the program that it wants to overwrite and change the file name.
So you use the arrows up and down to, is that how you moved up and down?
Yeah, I move up and down with the arrows over. And I actually have to go to edit the program, correct?
Edit the program number, yes. So,
Let me show that. So I already have the program that it wanted to overwrite selected. I can go to edit. And if I remember, this is right where it is.
that's it.
Yeah.
Active program, correct. So start with the letter O and a different number.
So I type in O. Let's do 01002. And then I want to alter. And if you notice, it is now changed. It will change whatever is highlighted at that moment. And because the program number was the item that was highlighted, that is what was changed. So now I can go to list programs. I want to cancel to go to the tabs. Tab over to USB device. Enter. I want to select my program and F2 to copy to memory. And it did it. So I can go cancel to go back to the tabs, enter on memory, and there's my program. And it is selected. It is the active program. And you hit select program. So if I wanted a different program, I could go down, select program, and that program would be the active
And
program.
you can see an A beside it as well.
Yes, there is an A next to it. That is our active program. So now I can go to go
So
back.
why is some of that white and some of it blue?
So white is your feature. Where you want to go, which is in the blue in the background, would be specific to your display button,
Okay.
such as your offsets, which is middle right.
Yeah.
If you went to the offsets, you would feature your offsets area.
Let's see.
That's in your display.
Oh, the display here. So you
Correct. So
display
offsets.
offsets.
And there you move your display, and then positions brings you to the bottom section, and program back up to the
And the
left.
white one's your working area.
Yeah, that is the area that is active. Where
Based
you can,
off of those 8 middle buttons.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So now let's go and we can actually start setting up the tools. We can go to hand job and we're going to install our tools. Based off of our program, we know what we have set up as tool 1 and tool 2. So that's predetermined by the program. So I'm putting it all the way back in here, tighten it down. And I know this is the tool 1 slot because there's a number 1 up at the top. And if I want to rotate this, I can actually go and hit next tool to rotate to make it easier for me to actually go and put the tool in if I want.
90 degrees.
And you want to make sure this is snug. So the last thing you want is it coming out. Next, we want to actually set up the piece. We want to go ahead and pull our stock out and actually set up the tools. So I can go, we know based off the program we set it up to be 4 inches out. And right now we only have it set up to 2. So I can go here. And this one's a pre-jaw chuck that's self-centering, so therefore we only have to loosen the one spot. We don't have to go and tighten each jaw individually. So now we have it set out 4 inches. And then I can close this to move it. Now, I'm going to set up for tool 1. So I can go to put it back to tool 1. You have the option of doing next tool, which will go through each one separately. Or you can do the NDI. I want to go tool 1, and I want to go reverse. And now it's put me back at tool 1. So hand jog is where we can actually start moving this up towards where our part is. So we have 2 options when we do this. We can either do the hand jog, select our axis, and then move it here with our hand jog, which does take some time, or you can actually release it and be able to do these by hand to get it close to be able to set up. So make sure you're at hand jog. I want to shift, and I can select X to be able to now move the X, and I can shift Z. And this puts it in manual jog. So now I can move, as long as I don't hit anything else, I can manually move these. And if we need, we can actually open the window. To get it close. And now, if I hit hand jog, it puts it back where I have to control it here with this hand. Okay, so now that we have our tools in, we have them placed, we need to go and set our offsets for the tools, so that way the machine knows where the piece is and where the center of the piece is. So now we got to do some math. Okay. We're going to go over 2 methods of setting up the piece. One method, you're using a spacer to set it up. That way you aren't actually cutting into your stock. And the other method requires you to actually cut into the stock and measure. So I've measured what I'm going to use to measure the offsets for the machine. It's 0.187. And when we do the offsets for the x-axis, which is going to be the side of this, z is going to be our face, x is the side. We have to double the diameter of this piece because we're setting up for the diameter of the part. Okay, and I need to measure what my part is. So the diameter of our stock is 0.746. We double the spacer, and then we're going to add that to the actual size of our stock, which becomes 1.120. All right. So when I go into hand jog, I need to select which axis it is that I'm going to move. Because we are setting up the X axis, I am going to select X. It does not matter whether it's plus or minus. So now I need to also tell it how much I want it to move.
You mean like in increments?
In increments, yes. So I want to start it with it being closer than what I need it to be.
So each click is your increment that you picked?
Whether it be 10,000s, 100,000s, 1,000. So I have it where it's tight, I fit my spacer in between, and right now it will not slide through. So I want to back it off and slowly until it slides through easily, but snug. So right when it releases, right there. So I'm going to hit X diameter measure and make sure it's on tool 1 when I do this, and it measures it. So what we're entering is the actual diameter that we measured. No negative, nothing. We just put the actual numbers that we have written. So 1.120, enter, right?
Correct.
Now that we have that set up, we need to go and do our face, which is the Z axis. So I'm going to jog the Z back. To move it in the X and make sure I have the Z for when I go to move it. So right now it's tight. Right there. So now I can select, make sure it's on the Z. I can select the Z face measure. And now this is where we do just the diameter of this. So it's just the original measurement of this negative. So I'm going to enter negative 0.187. Enter. And it'll ask, do you want to accept this? And I want to say yes. And now it should have shifted. So that's the offsets for the first tool. And this is how you would have to go through if you're using a spacer to set up without actually cutting into the tool. So now on the second tool, what I want to do is move my tool changer away.
Can we have Kevin do one?
We're going to have Kevin walk through the actual, I figure for the second tool, we can go through and actually do the cutting. So one tool we set up one way, the other tool we do the other.
Okay, perfect.
So now I can hit next tool, and it now goes to tool 2. So now we can have Kevin walk through how to cut and measure the part.
You're in Z, jog the Z closer to your part. Easy to when you get close.
Do you have to touch the tool?
Eventually. Let's come to the positive side of that workpiece. So switch to X. Come out a little bit. Back in a little bit. see a little closer where you are. Couple more clicks. Little more. Keep clicking until you clear the part. That's good. That's going to clear right there. Okay? Now you're going to switch to Z and click 2 times towards the chuck. Negative. Right there. Does it look like it will cut the part? What RPM do we want to turn this? 400, 500? Let's do 400. So key in 400 on your number pad. And come over here to where it says forward and the spindle.
See where it says spindle. So these 3 buttons control the spindle. We want it to go forward, so hit forward. And now our spindle's moving.
Very good. I'm going to go to the X.
Minus or plus?
It
Doesn't matter. And now you're going to go to 1000s mode. You are set to start turning the hand wheel very slowly in a negative direction.
So before you start turning, have your hand on it and make sure you watch. Very slowly.
You're cutting, right? Just keep cutting. Nice and easy. Just listen for the sound to be a nice, smooth cut. Just constantly, just jog it on in until you get all of that faced off. You see it facing? Keep on facing.
You put it halfway and you go back.
Yep. Once you see that it is faced off enough, and then you can back it up the other way and clear your part. Once you've cleared your part, you can stop.
Alright, hit spindle stop. Yeah, so that stops the spindle.
So now you're on tool 2. You see the yellow one, tool 2, and you are in the Z column.
Up here, you see, we're on tool 2. And the yellow shows that the Z is highlighted.
Z face measure.
So,
Because you just cut, Z face measure is the current location.
so you don't have to do any
No
punching the
math.
numbers.
Okay? Okay. Now, same way as we did the face, you want to move in just enough to where you think you'll take a little bit off the OD. So I would guess probably about 2 or 3 clicks. You're coming out, you want to go in.
Negative.
Cut. You're clicking, negative.
Negative will always move you towards the spindle and will always move you in towards the center of the part.
So when you think you're going to make a little cut, close. How fast do you want to turn this? Same would work. So 400, and which button? Very good. Now you're going to cut in Z, correct?
Z.
So,
Z minus.
correct.
Cutting it.
Correct. And because you're doing a nice steady, it's not squealing as much. When you stop, it squeals. So you got it. Now you're cleaned up.
Go ahead and measure it now, Kevin.
What, 7, 4, 8, yeah.
Alright, so now that we have cut our part and we've measured to make sure that we know what our stock diameter is, we can select, because we only moved along the Z-axis. The X is already set. So we can hit the X diameter measure, and we're going to enter the diameter that we measured of the piece.
So you're going to cancel out your old number.
So, and I'm going to type in 1.748. Enter. So now that we have everything dialed in, our tools are set up, it knows where the center of our piece is, we can actually now run the part. So, if we're going to run the part, make sure the door is closed.
Make sure you have clearance.
Yes, because when it goes to start, it's going to just move to the second tool. We don't know if it may hit the part, may not. So it would help to go ahead, hand jog the Z back.
So that it's out of the way when the current changes?
Yeah, I moved it to 10 thousandths. Because if you do it at 100 thousandths, it moves really fast. So now, when I go and start, it won't hit anything when it switches to that tool 1. To run the program, you're going to go to memory. You have your program here, and you hit cycle start, and that will start running the machine.
Does the program have to be white highlighted? Or is that only manipulated?
In this case, your program will be highlighted. I would say at this point, what would you like to see in addition to your program? Possibly the 4 axes, information. I would say go to current commands.
So, current commands.
And page up.
Good.
And that is your live image, page up again. And that is your bar feeder interface, page up again. Maintenance, and it sounds like I've told you to go the wrong way to get the page we're looking for. So keep paging up. Keep paging. That's the page. All the positions, the operator, the work, the machine, and the distance to go. The work is going to give you the current location of where the machine is based on the offsets. The distance to go is going to tell you how far it has to go to complete the current command. Very good information to have. So if you hit cycle start followed by feed hold, after it calls up that tool and offset and starts to move, you will know where you are, and then we can do safety checks to make sure that we actually have the distance and distance to go to move to the command without running into anything.
And another way we can also do that too is by doing single block, correct?
Single block.
By selecting single block, each time you hit cycle start, it's only going to go through each line individually.
Correct.
Yeah. So
Only processes that one line of information.
do you want me to just hit cycle start and then the feed hold, or?
Another good thing is in setting up would be to cut down on your rapids. Instead of being at 100% of rapid, cut it down to 25%.
So here on a rapid,
Correct.
select 25%. So that way it won't move too fast.
Correct. Control is the name of the game. You as an operator, setup person, for the first time when you get ready to process a new program, it just gives you better reaction time. Highly recommended.
So, start.
Start. Indexes.
Should stop now? Okay.
And you can stop the spindle if you want. Very good.
Is this spindle screw fast?
And it says 8.5 inches. We have 8.5 inches.
Wait for that.
thousandths.
Yes.
So you got 8.5 plus 50 plus another 50.
Yeah.
8.6. I'd say you're in pretty good shape there.
There it is.
I'm still actually. Now we actually are taking. We should get a lot less deflection. And that was the semi-finish, and now we have the finish cut actually taking place. Now we're back to the tool change location. This is where it went to a straight RPM to do the profiling. I think we can actually even get that at 450. So just kick the override up just a little bit so that it runs that straight RPM just a little bit faster than it was. So looks like 630. And that's really not a bad finish considering it is a groove tool rather than a tool designed to actually make these type of cuts.